Welcome to BritBuzz. Today, we're diving into the incredible history of one of the world's most iconic cities, London, from its humble beginnings as a small Roman settlement to its rise as a global powerhouse. London's story is packed with fascinating twists and turns. Stay with us as we uncover how this ancient city evolved through time via its triumphs, challenges, and moments that shaped it into the London we know today. From the Romans to the modern skyline, this is the extraordinary story of London. Roman London, Londinium I. The founding of Londinium, 43 AD. London's history begins with the Romans, who invaded Britain in 43 AD under Emperor Claudius. Recognizing the strategic value of the area, the Romans established Londinium as a settlement near the River Thames, which provided easy access to the North Sea. This prime location made Londinium an ideal hub for trade, transport, and military operations, laying the foundation for its future significance. By around 50 AD, Londinium had become an important commercial center, attracting merchants, traders, and settlers from across the Roman Empire. Its convenient river access enabled the transportation of goods like pottery, metals, and foodstuffs, connecting Londinium to other Roman territories. 2. Growth of Londinium. A bustling Roman town. As Londinium developed, it became a thriving Roman town complete with the features of a sophisticated urban center. The Romans introduced key infrastructure that helped the city flourish: temples and public buildings. The Romans constructed grand temples to honor their gods and reinforce their presence in Britain. Bathhouses. Public baths were built, reflecting Roman culture's emphasis on hygiene and socializing. Amphitheater. Londinium's amphitheater, discovered by archaeologists in the 20th century, hosted gladiatorial games and other public spectacles. By the 2nd century, Londinium was one of the largest and most important Roman towns in Britain, with an estimated population of 30,000. 3. The destruction of Londinium during Boudicca's revolt, 60–61 AD. Londinium's early prosperity was violently interrupted by Boudicca, the queen of the Iceni tribe, who led a massive rebellion against Roman rule in 60–61 AD. Angered by Roman exploitation and the mistreatment of her people, Boudicca's forces attacked Roman settlements, including Londinium. The Romans, recognizing their inability to defend the town, evacuated Londinium, leaving it to the rebels. Boudicca's army burned Londinium to the ground, killing many of its inhabitants. Archaeological evidence of this destruction includes a layer of charred debris known as the Boudiccan destruction layer. 4. Rebuilding and the legacy of Roman Londinium. Despite the devastation, Londinium was quickly rebuilt by the Romans. They constructed new defenses, including a protective wall around the city in the late 2nd century, parts of which still stand today. The city regained its status as a major commercial and administrative hub, solidifying its importance within the Roman province of Britannia. Londinium's legacy as a Roman settlement set the stage for its evolution into a major city. The Romans established the foundations of governance, infrastructure, and trade networks that would influence London's development for centuries to come. Anglo-Saxon and Viking. London I. London's decline after the fall of Roman rule, 5th century. Following the withdrawal of Roman forces from Britain in the early 5th century, Londinium fell into decline. Without the protection and infrastructure maintained by the Roman Empire, the city's population dwindled, and its once thriving economy collapsed. The grand Roman buildings and roads began to decay, and Londinium was largely abandoned as political and social structures in Britain fragmented into smaller, localized kingdoms. During this period, known as the Dark Ages, the region around Londinium remained sparsely populated, and its significance as a major urban center faded. The Roman walls and ruins stood as silent reminders of its former glory. 2. The rise of Anglo-Saxon settlements. By the 6th and 7th centuries, the Anglo-Saxons, who had migrated to Britain after the Roman departure, began to establish settlements in the region. They avoided the ruins of Londinium and instead built a new settlement called Londinium, located slightly west of the old Roman city, near what is now Covent Garden. Londinium became an important trading hub, benefiting from its proximity to the River Thames, which allowed easy transport of goods. The Anglo-Saxon settlement thrived as a centre of commerce, engaging in trade with other parts of Britain and Europe. In 604 AD, London saw its Christian roots revitalized with the construction of St. Paul's Cathedral, marking a religious and cultural revival in the region. However, as London grew in prominence, it became a target for external threats. 3. Viking invasions and their impact on London. 9th century. During the 9th century, Viking raiders from Scandinavia launched repeated attacks on Britain, targeting wealthy settlements like Londinium. The first recorded Viking attack on London occurred in 842 AD, and over the following decades, the city endured frequent raids that caused widespread destruction and disruption to trade. The Viking threat forced the Anglo-Saxons to take action. In the 880s, King Alfred the Great, the ruler of Wessex, led efforts to reclaim and fortify London. Recognizing the strategic importance of the old Roman city's defences, Alfred ordered the Anglo-Saxons to move their settlement back within the Roman walls of Londinium, which offered better protection against Viking attacks. Key defensive measures by Alfred the Great. Alfred constructed new fortifications, repaired their Roman walls, and established a network of fortified towns known as burghs to defend against Viking incursions. He also strengthened London's position as a trading and military hub, encouraging the return of merchants and settlers. These efforts not only safeguarded London but also helped unify Anglo-Saxon England against external threats. By the end of the 9th century, London was re-emerging as a prosperous and strategically important city. Norman Conquest and Medieval London. 1. The Norman Conquest of 1066 and London's transformation. The Norman Conquest of England in 1066 marked a major turning point in London's history. After his victory at the Battle of Hastings, William the Conqueror marched to London, where the city quickly submitted to his rule. William was crowned King of England in Westminster Abbey on Christmas Day, 1066, symbolizing the beginning of Norman dominance. Under Norman rule, London underwent significant political and architectural transformations. The city's strategic importance grew as William established it as the administrative and commercial heart of his new kingdom. He fortified London to secure his reign, and the city became a key centre of governance, trade, and royal influence in medieval England. 2. The construction of the Tower of London. One of the most iconic legacies of the Norman conquest is the Tower of London, commissioned by William the Conqueror in 1078. The White Tower, the central structure of the Tower of London complex, served as a fortress, royal palace, and symbol of Norman authority. Its imposing design sent a clear message of power to the people of London, as well as potential invaders. Over the centuries, the tower was expanded and used for various purposes, including as a prison and treasury. The Tower of London remains one of the city's most recognizable landmarks and a symbol of its medieval history. 3. Growth of London in medieval England. During the medieval period, London continued to grow as a centre of commerce, trade, and governance. Its location on the River Thames made it a hub for merchants trading goods like wool, spices, and textiles. The city's importance as a trading centre attracted wealthy guilds, artisans, and merchants, contributing to its prosperity. Key developments in medieval London. Charters and governance. In 1215, King John granted London the right to elect its own mayor, solidifying its status as a self-governing entity. The growth of markets. Areas like Cheapside became bustling markets where goods from across Europe and beyond were traded. Expansion of population. By the 14th century, London was the largest city in England, with an estimated population of 80,000. London also played a key role in governance, housing institutions like Westminster Abbey and Westminster Hall, where royal and legal affairs were conducted. 4. Challenges faced by medieval London. Despite its growth, medieval London faced numerous challenges that tested its resilience. A. The Great Fire of 1212. One of the earliest recorded fires in London's history, the Great Fire of 1212 caused widespread destruction, particularly on London Bridge. The fire highlighted the dangers of the city's densely packed wooden buildings and lack of fire safety measures. B. The Black Death. London was hit hard by recurring outbreaks of the Black Death, Beginning in 1347 A 1351, the plague wiped out an estimated 50% of the city's population. Overcrowded and unsanitary conditions in medieval London made it a breeding ground for disease, and the repeated outbreaks caused immense social and economic upheaval. See social and political unrest. The medieval period also saw instances of unrest, such as the Peasants' Revolt of 1381, when rebels marched on London to protest high taxes and inequality. The revolt was a reminder of the tensions simmering beneath London's prosperous surface. Tudor and Elizabethan London 1. London's expansion under the Tudors. The Tudor period, 1485 to 1603, brought significant growth and transformation to London, particularly during the reign of Henry VIII. 1509 to 1547. Under Henry's rule, London became the political, cultural, and religious heart of England as the monarchy centralized power. Key changes during Henry VIII's reign. Religious transformation. Henry VIII's break with the Catholic Church and the establishment of the Church of England had a profound impact on London. Monasteries and religious institutions were dissolved, with their wealth and land seized by the Crown. This included the dissolution of Westminster Abbey, which was refounded as a cathedral. Urban expansion. London's population grew significantly during this period, surpassing 100,000 by the mid-16th century. New housing and infrastructure were developed to accommodate the growing number of people moving to the city. Political importance. The Tudor monarchs frequently resided in London, particularly at the Palace of Whitehall, making the city the administrative centre of England. London's expanding influence set the stage for its cultural and economic golden age under Henry's daughter, Elizabeth I. 2. Cultural flourishing during the Elizabethan era. The Elizabethan era, 1558 to 1603, named after Queen Elizabeth I, was a period of remarkable cultural achievement, with London at the centre of this flourishing. William Shakespeare and the Globe Theatre. London became the home of English Renaissance drama, with playwrights like William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, and Ben Jonson transforming the city's entertainment scene. The construction of the Globe Theatre in 1599, located on the south bank of the River Thames, provided a dedicated space for performances of Shakespeare's iconic works like Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, and Macbeth. Theatre became a central part of London's social and cultural life, attracting audiences from all walks of society. Art, music, and literature. The Elizabethan period also saw advancements in music, poetry, and literature. London's royal courts became centres for patronage, supporting artists and intellectuals who contributed to the city's vibrant cultural life. 3. London's role as an economic and maritime power. Under the Tudors, London emerged as a leading economic and maritime power. Its location on the Thames allowed it to dominate trade routes and become a hub of commerce and exploration. The establishment of the Royal Exchange, 1565, founded by merchant Sir Thomas Gresham. The Royal Exchange became the centre of commerce in London. Modelled after European trading hubs, it provided a space where merchants and financiers could conduct business, solidifying London's reputation as a global trade centre. Maritime expansion. London played a key role in England's age of exploration. The port city served as a departure point for voyages led by figures like Sir Francis Drake and Walter Raleigh, who expanded England's influence overseas. The success of maritime trade and exploration brought wealth and prestige to London, fueling its economic growth and establishing it as a dominant player in global trade networks. The Great Fire and Rebuilding of London 1. The devastating impact of the Great Fire of London, 1666. The Great Fire of London, one of the most catastrophic events in the city's history, began on September 2, 1666, in a bakery on Pudding Lane. What started as a small fire quickly escalated due to strong winds, dry timber buildings, and a lack of effective firefighting equipment. The fire raged for 4 days, consuming much of medieval London. Its devastating impact included the destruction of over 13,000 homes, 87 parish churches, and key landmarks like the original St. Paul's Cathedral. Approximately 80% of the city within the old Roman walls was destroyed, leaving tens of thousands homeless. Remarkably, the death toll was relatively low, but the economic and social impact was enormous, with Londoners losing homes, businesses, and livelihoods. The fire highlighted the dangers of London's narrow streets and densely packed wooden buildings, making the need for a safer and more modern city layout evident. 2. Rebuilding London. The role of Christopher Wren. The destruction caused by the Great Fire provided an opportunity to redesign and modernize the city. The rebuilding process was overseen by notable architects, with Sir Christopher Wren playing a central role. Key contributions by Christopher Wren. St. Paul's Cathedral. Wren's masterpiece was the reconstruction of St. Paul's Cathedral, which had been destroyed in the fire. Completed in 1710, the new cathedral featured a magnificent dome and became an enduring symbol of London's resilience and architectural beauty. New churches. Wren also designed and rebuilt over 50 churches throughout London, many of which remain iconic landmarks today. Urban improvements. Although grand plans to redesign the city with wide boulevards and squares were largely abandoned due to funding and property disputes, some significant changes were made. Streets were widened, and new building regulations required houses to be constructed with brick or stone instead of wood to prevent future fires. The rebuilding process introduced a more organized and safer city layout. 3. How the fire shaped modern London's layout and infrastructure. The Great Fire had a profound influence on the design and infrastructure of modern London. Safer building standards. The fire led to the first building codes in London's history, ensuring that new buildings were more fire-resistant. Better streets and accessibility. Streets were widened, and markets were relocated to improve accessibility and reduce overcrowding. Aesthetic legacy. Wren's architectural style, seen in buildings like St. Paul's Cathedral and numerous churches, define London's post-fire identity. Additionally, the fire paved the way for a more organized city, setting the stage for London's growth as a modern metropolis. The rebuilding efforts not only restored the city but also helped it adapt to the challenges of the future. The Industrial Revolution and Victorian London. 1. London's transformation during the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution, late 18th to 19th century, brought massive changes to London, turning it into one of the most important cities in the world. As industries grew and mechanized production expanded, London became a hub for trade, manufacturing, and innovation. By the reign of Queen Victoria, 1837–1901, the city had transformed into a bustling metropolis, with a population of over 6 million by the mid-19th century. However, this rapid growth brought challenges. Overcrowding. The influx of people from rural areas and abroad led to densely packed housing and the growth of slums in areas like the East End. Pollution. Factories and coal burning contributed to severe air pollution, giving rise to the infamous London fog, while the River Thames became heavily polluted with industrial and human waste. Despite these issues, London's transformation positioned it as a center of innovation, commerce, and global influence. 2. Development of key infrastructure. The London Underground, 1863. As the population exploded, London faced challenges in moving people efficiently through the crowded city. This led to the development of revolutionary infrastructure, including the London Underground, the world's first subway system. Key facts about the London Underground. The first line, the Metropolitan Railway, opened in 1863. Running between Paddington and Farringdon. The subway used steam-powered trains, a groundbreaking achievement for urban transport. The Underground helped reduce traffic congestion on the streets, setting a precedent for modern urban transportation systems. The Underground symbolized London's adaptability and its leadership in technological advancements during the Industrial Revolution. 3. Social challenges, poverty, pollution, and the working class. While London flourished as a global city, the Industrial Revolution exposed deep social inequalities, poverty and slums. The working class lived in overcrowded, unsanitary housing, often in dire poverty. Diseases like cholera and tuberculosis were rampant. Pollution. The city's rapid industrialization created environmental issues. The Great Stink of 1858, caused by the Thames pollution, forced the government to implement sanitation reforms, including the construction of modern sewer systems by engineer Joseph Bazalgette. Child labor and exploitation. Many children worked long hours in factories or as chimney sweeps, often under dangerous conditions. These social challenges were vividly captured by authors like Charles Dickens in novels such as Oliver Twist and Bleak House, which highlighted the struggles of the working class and the stark divide between rich and poor. 4. London as the centre of the British Empire. During the Victorian era, London became the heart of the British Empire, the largest empire in history. The city was a global hub for politics, trade, and culture, symbolizing Britain's imperial dominance. The Great Exhibition of 1851, held in Hyde Park, the Great Exhibition was a celebration of industrial achievements, art, and culture. Hosted in the Crystal Palace, a massive glass structure designed by Joseph Paxton, the event showcased innovations from Britain and its colonies. The exhibition attracted over 6 million visitors, reinforcing London's status as a global city and centre of progress. London's imperial wealth funded grand projects like the construction of iconic landmarks, including the Houses of Parliament and the expansion of Buckingham Palace. London during the World Wars I. London's role during World War I, 1914–1918. During World War I, London played a crucial role as the political, military, and administrative heart of the British war effort. The city was the seat of the government, led by Prime Minister David Lloyd George, and the centre of coordination for the Allies' strategy against Germany and its allies. Key aspects of London's role in World War I. Military command and planning. London housed key war offices, including the War Office and Admiralty, which directed Britain's military operations. Logistics and supplies. Factories in and around London produced munitions, equipment, and other essential supplies for the front lines. Financial centre. The city's financial institutions raised funds to support the war effort, both domestically and internationally. Although London did not experience widespread physical destruction during World War I, the war brought social and economic challenges, including food shortages, air raids by German Zeppelins, and the loss of soldiers. This was the first time the city faced aerial bombardment, introducing a new level of vulnerability. 2. The Blitz. London during World War II, 1940–1941. London faced far greater devastation during World War II, particularly during the Blitz, the German bombing campaign that targeted the city and other parts of Britain. The Blitz began on September 7, 1940, and lasted until May 1941. The devastating impact of the Blitz. Heavy bombing raids. German bombers attacked London night after night, with the heaviest destruction occurring in areas like the East End, which housed docks and factories critical to the war effort. Widespread destruction. Approximately 1 million homes were destroyed or damaged, and landmarks such as St. Paul's Cathedral narrowly survived the bombings. Loss of life. Over 30,000 Londoners were killed during the Blitz, and thousands more were injured. Despite the devastation, Londoners adapted to life under constant threat. They took shelter in underground stations and reinforced basements during air raids, showing remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. 3. The resilience of Londoners and Churchill's leadership. The courage and determination of Londoners during the Blitz became a defining symbol of Britain's wartime spirit. This resilience was captured in the government's message, "Keep calm and carry on," which encouraged citizens to maintain composure and unity. Winston Churchill's role. Prime Minister Winston Churchill emerged as a beacon of hope and strength for Londoners and the British people. His speeches, broadcast across the nation, inspired confidence and resolve. Famous phrases like "We shall never surrender" and "This was their finest hour" rallied Londoners during the darkest days of the war. Churchill's leadership and the unbreakable spirit of Londoners during this period became central to Britain's identity, earning the city the nickname "the city that would not die." Post-war rebuilding and modern London. 1. Rebuilding London after World War II. The devastation of World War II, particularly from the Blitz, left much of London in ruins. Entire neighbourhoods, industrial zones, and historic areas were destroyed, requiring significant rebuilding efforts in the post-war years. The government launched ambitious reconstruction programs to restore and modernize the city. Key rebuilding efforts: new housing. To address the housing crisis caused by wartime destruction, large-scale housing projects were undertaken. New estates and prefabricated homes were constructed to provide quick and affordable housing for displaced Londoners. Town planning. Architect Patrick Abercrombie's Greater London Plan of 1944 aimed to reorganise the city by creating new suburban developments, known as new towns, and reducing congestion in the city centre. Cultural renewal. The post-war years also saw the creation of cultural landmarks to revitalise the city's spirit. The South Bank Centre, established in the 1950s, became a hub for the arts and public gatherings. It symbolized the city's cultural revival and commitment to creativity. Despite these efforts, post-war London faced challenges such as economic difficulties and social adjustments, but the groundwork for a modern, vibrant city was laid. 2. London's transformation in the late 20th century. By the latter half of the 20th century, London began transforming into a major global financial and commercial centre. This transformation was marked by the development of Canary Wharf and other modern infrastructure projects. Canary Wharf and the rise of the financial district. In the 1980s and 1990s, the former docklands of East London were redeveloped into Canary Wharf, a sleek, modern financial district. Skyscrapers like One Canada Square became iconic symbols of London's status as a leading financial hub. Canary Wharf complemented the historic City of London, enhancing the city's global economic influence. Modern infrastructure projects. Major transport initiatives, such as the construction of the Jubilee Line extension and improvements to Heathrow Airport, connected London more efficiently to the rest of the world. Redevelopments, including the transformation of Covent Garden and the creation of pedestrian-friendly spaces, modernized the city while preserving its historic charm. 3. London as a multicultural and global hub. One of the defining aspects of post-war London has been its evolution into a multicultural metropolis. Waves of immigration following World War II significantly shaped the city's demographic and cultural fabric. Immigration and diversity. The arrival of immigrants from former British colonies, including the Caribbean, Windrush generation, South Asia, and Africa, introduced vibrant cultures, cuisines, and traditions. By the late 20th century, London had become one of the most diverse cities in the world, with over 300 languages spoken and communities from every continent. Cultural and economic influence. London's diversity enriched its global reputation, making it a leading centre for art, music, fashion, and cuisine. Neighbourhoods like Brick Lane and Brixton became cultural hotspots, reflecting the city's rich multicultural heritage. As a global hub, London hosted major events like the 1981 Royal Wedding and later the 2012 Summer Olympics, showcasing its ability to bring the world together. Contemporary London, 1030 to 1130, London's status today. A global hub. London continues to be one of the world's leading cities in multiple sectors, including finance, culture, and tourism. As the capital of the United Kingdom, it holds a prominent position in the global economy, with its financial district, the City of London, serving as a major hub for banking, insurance, and investment. London is home to institutions like the Bank of England and the London Stock Exchange, which play critical roles in international finance. Culturally, London is a world-renowned centre for the arts, literature, and theatre, with landmarks like the British Museum, the National Gallery, and the West End Theatre District drawing millions of visitors each year. Additionally, the city's multicultural makeup enriches its cultural life, with a diverse range of restaurants, festivals, and communities contributing to its vibrant atmosphere. As a global tourism destination, London attracts millions of visitors annually. Its rich history, famous landmarks like Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, and the Houses of Parliament, and its world-class shopping and dining options make it must-see for travellers from around the world. Iconic modern landmarks. The Shard, standing at 310 metres, The Shard is the tallest building in the UK and one of the most iconic features of the London skyline. Designed by architect Renzo Piano, it houses offices, restaurants, a hotel, and a public viewing gallery offering panoramic views of the city. The London Eye, completed in 2000, the London Eye is one of the most recognized observation wheels in the world. Located on the south bank of the River Thames, it offers breathtaking views of landmarks such as St. Paul's Cathedral, the Houses of Parliament, and the River Thames. The Eye has become one of London's top tourist attractions. Heathrow Airport, as one of the busiest airports in the world, Heathrow serves as a critical international gateway to the UK. Its multiple terminals cater to millions of passengers annually, connecting London to cities across the globe. The airport's strategic importance in air travel makes it a vital part of London's economy and global connectivity. Challenges facing London: housing shortages. London has long faced a significant housing crisis, with demand for housing far outstripping supply. The city's growing population, combined with high demand for housing from both domestic and international buyers, has led to soaring property prices and rents. This shortage has made it difficult for many to afford homes in the city, particularly in central areas, contributing to rising homelessness and inequality. Traffic congestion. London streets are notoriously congested, with traffic jams being a common issue throughout the day. The city's road infrastructure, built for a population of a much smaller size, struggles to keep up with modern demands. Public transport options like the Underground, buses, and the River Bus help mitigate congestion, but overcrowding during peak hours remains a challenge. Moreover, the constant flow of tourists, workers, and residents exacerbates the issue. Climate change. Like many other major cities, London faces the challenges posed by climate change, including rising temperatures, flooding, and air pollution. The city has made strides in promoting sustainability, with efforts to reduce carbon emissions, increase green spaces, and develop energy-efficient buildings. However, issues such as air pollution, especially in areas with heavy traffic, remain a concern for public health and the environment. The city's response to climate change includes initiatives like the Ultra-Low Emission Zone, ULEZ, and green building practices, but the long-term impacts require ongoing investment and adaptation. Conclusion and viewer engagement. 11:30 to 12 o'clock. Summary of London's journey. London's transformation from the ancient settlement of Londinium to the dynamic, global metropolis it is today is nothing short of remarkable. Founded by the Romans around 43 AD, Londinium,